Passerby shook his head. His knowledge of the world was still limited, and he urgently needed supplementary information. Okay, brother. You must bring me along when you go tomorrow. Don't worry, I'll make sure of it. Smiling, he patted his younger sibling on the shoulder before turning to head into his room. After entering the room, Passerby urgently looked up various materials and books. He was full of unquenchable curiosity about everything regarding pet tamers. Although some relevant information remained in his memory, he had yet to understand this world fully. How could he not be excited about this extraordinary power? Time passed quickly, and it was already 6 o'clock in the afternoon when he finally left the computer. Staring outside the window at the bloody sunset, his face was full of excitement and yearning. He had already roughly understood the world and obtained some basic information about pet tamers, including the levels of Pet Tamer, the pets, the evolution, the contract book, etc. Although the knowledge from the internet might not be completely correct, it still helped him grasp the basics. Of course, what he focused on was knowledge about soul stones and beginner spirits. According to his understanding, at the age of 16, a soul stone, a magical and mysterious thing, would be born from the Mudpill Palace located in the glabella. No matter what was incorporated, a spirit egg could be obtained. Be it the most common stone, branch, or an advanced treasure, a monster crystal nucleus could evolve into a spirit egg. Thereafter, he would be considered a pet tamer. However, although he could obtain a spirit no matter what he incorporated a soul stone with, the quality of the material would definitely affect the spirit's aptitude after it hatched. Becoming a pet tamer was fair in this world, and no one could take it away. This was because a beginner spirit was derived from a person's inherent soul stone and had an innately deep spiritual level bond with its tamer. As long as the tamer refused, it would be useless even if someone stole their spirit egg. After understanding the high prices of beginner materials, Passerby began thinking about something else. He wondered if he could use a mountain, a river, a lake, or even a piece of the sea or the sky as a beginner material. If he could merge it with his soul stone, what kind of unique beginner spirit would be born? A mountain, no matter how ordinary it was definitely better than any materials he could buy for 600,000 yuan, and according to his knowledge, mountains, rivers, and lakes could also give birth to some spirits. Such spirits were called nature spirits, and they often had huge potential for growth and were deeply loved by people. Soon, Passerby realized that his thinking was slightly whimsical. He checked on the internet again and realized that this method had already been tried and tested long ago and it just did not work. This was because a soul stone would often touch the stones and trees on the surface of a mountain before it could be integrated into the mountain itself. Hence, it would have already evolved into a spirit egg. People had recorded videos of them attempting this theory on rivers, lakes, seas, and even skies, but none had worked. Even if there was such a method, Passerby knew that there was a high possibility of him not having a way to know. In other words, he only had one choice. He would have to plan how to spend wisely the 600,000 yuan given by his parents, incubate a good pet, and then work hard to pass the assessment of the Spirit Alliance to become an official pet tamer. The Spirit Alliance was also called the Pet Tamer Alliance. It was a force jointly formed by the national power in the early stage of the spirit rejuvenation, the up-and-coming powerful pet gymnasium, research institute, hunting hall, and all the pet tamer families. Their main purpose was to unite all pet tamers to resist foreign enemies, maintain stability in the world, and avoid all kinds of unfair oppression due to personal strength. It could be said that everything involving pets had a direct or indirect relationship to the Spirit Alliance. Ordinary pet tamers, who had just awakened, could only obtain the most authentic training and comprehensive knowledge about such a field by entering the Pet Tamer Academy, which was set up by the Spirit Alliance. This Pet Tamer Academy was said to be the best home for pet tamers. However, it was not impossible to become a pet tamer without entering the academy. Many people had never entered it, but among them, quite a lot were powerful enough to be recruited by the Spirit Alliance. In fact, the nature of it was that power still triumphed over every criterion in place. Anyone strong enough could enjoy whatever they wanted. It was also because of this that, every year, countless pet tamers who had not been admitted to the Pet Tamer Academy would still enter the frontline monster battlefields and space cracks to fight and explore the areas beyond. Although the death rate was terrifying, it still did not stop humans from chasing after extraordinary power. Subai naturally desired to become a powerful pet tamer. Despite the danger that came along with the profession, it was still better to walk a perilous path rather than live a mediocre life and leave this world sans making a splash. At least then, he would not have come to this world in vain and would not be filled with regrets. When the seas are in turmoil, heroes are on their mettle. He had to stand tall and believe in himself. Real men had to work hard for their ambitions and not give up early because they were afraid of the difficulties ahead. Brother, are you ready? Suyu put down the book in his hand upon seeing his older sibling come out of his room. Yes. No matter what, I'll become a powerful pet tamer. When you awaken and become a summoner 2 years later, I'll definitely get you really good materials, brother. Subai patted his younger brother on the shoulder and grinned. Becoming a powerful pet tamer was a process, not his goal. In fact, what he wanted was to go on risky adventures and explore this magical world. He even wanted to see the other worlds in the space cracks. However, the premise of all that was he should be strong enough to protect himself. Only then could he obtain freedom and go wherever he wanted. Hee. Thank you, brother. I think you'll definitely be admitted into the Pet Tamer Academy. You have to know that our parents almost passed the exam back then, so we'll surely pass without problem. After all, we've inherited their excellent genes. Subai nodded. After supplementing the common knowledge, he already understood at what level as pet tamers his parents were. They were both beginner pet tamers, with each possessing a silver contract book. The level of pet tamers in this world was roughly divided into apprentice, beginner, and elite. The corresponding pets or monsters were divided into servants, warlords, and commanders. The level of most pets and monsters was easy to identify and could be judged by the color of their pupils. For example, servants generally had cyan pupils, while warlords had silver-white pupils. This was the most conventional judgment method, but the real judgment mainly came from their breath, spiritual pressure, etc. On the other hand, the level of pet tamers was difficult to identify. It could generally be recognized by looking at one's contract book. The contract book of apprentices was bronze, beginners white and silver, and elites golden. The contract book was the foundation of a pet tamer. In addition to the most fundamental contract pet uses, it contained many other skills, such as storing pets, recording pet skills, etc. The more advanced one's contract book was, the more useful it was. The apprentice or beginner pet tamers were often just ordinary citizens, while the seldom seen elite pet tamers were usually found on monster battlefields, risking their lives.